If there's one thing Aussies love, it's getting out and exploring our very own backyard. But where do you go? How do you do it? Welcome to Ready for Adventure. This series joined myself, Karl Langdon, Nova's Ross Wallman, outdoors expert Emma George, and Daniela Pola, taking you around the state, highlighting the best ways to get out for your next adventure. On today's show, Emma hits the water of Coburn Sound. Blake Proud joins the Ready for Adventure team with some great additions for your camping kit, and Ross has the perfect way to keep cool in the outdoors.
There are so many ways to explore and experience this body of water that meanders through Perth. The Swan River, or Derbyl Yerrigan as it was named hundreds of years ago, has been connecting people all the way in the hills to the ocean for years. Now there's an adventure that brings us closer to this river and connects us to hundreds of years of Indigenous stories and learnings. And all you need to pack for this adventure is your appetite. On the last Sunday of every month, curious guests board one of Perth's most iconic tour boats for a very special tour. Its creator is local Noongar elder and respected Perth elder Caravanning Winmar, who's never short of a story, and for the next 2 hours we're off on a journey of discovery.
Wula, wula, buri chuwajak puja, wula, 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 buri chuwajak puja.
What a boat that you've chosen to host these tours on.
Yes, it is an amazing boat, and it just gives you the full view of everything that's happening. Right here in the middle of the river, you can see everything out from these beautiful windows and how peacefully it cruises along.
So the tour, it runs for 2 hours. So how do you condense hundreds of years of stories into such a short amount of time?
What I do, I talk about many different things on how my people actually lived off the land before colonisation and how they utilised virtually everything that was out there that was edible or that was used for medicinal purposes. So there was bush medicines and there was bush seeds. You know, women would collect their seeds to make their flour, their paste, and they'd put water in it, make a paste, make their little Johnny cake dampers. Here we have some medicinals. Wannel, we call them, wannel. So take a smell of that.
Oh my God, amazing.
Yes, and so I talk about that for about an hour. When you're on the boat, you know, you've heard that story, then you can have something to eat and drink, and then you can just sit and relax and just look out the window and say, yeah, it must have been an amazing place for Aboriginal people to live before colonisation.
It's not just your eyes and your ears that go on this journey of discovery, so too do your taste buds. Okay, so Carrie-Anne, this is a part where we get to try some bush tucker-inspired treats. Can you tell me about how you've infused it through these yummy treats?
So with these brownies here, they've been infused and they've also have wattle seeds in them and acacia seeds. And so they're crushed and they're put in there, so that gives it that really, you know, authentic flavour. Here we have, in the custard, we have lemon myrtle, where it gives it that infusion, so it's just beautiful. And on these crumbles here, they've had quandong cherries that actually, you know, give it that beautiful, tangy, fruity taste. And these custard puffs here, that also has infusions of lemon myrtle as well. And so, you know, all of this food has got that Indigenous flavour to it.
Yum. So can I tuck in?
Yeah, of course you can.
Is that all right? Okay, I'm going to have some
Welcome.
of this.
Yum.
Oh my goodness. That's so good. Today it's become obvious that not all adventures need to involve long distances to take you far away. Sitting back, chatting with Carrie-Anne, hearing her stories and tasting bush tucker-inspired treats has taken me to a world that I didn't even know existed. And that's all right here on our doorstep.
When I'm ready for adventure, there are 3 words right at the front of my mind when it comes to choosing my kit. Clever, packable and light. Use them in a camping context and you'll get exactly what I mean. Over the years, many have tried, but one small Australian business has succeeded. If you want to reduce the packable size on your next car camping adventure, then come with me and check out these exciting products. Sea to Summit are behind these goodies I've packed today. The company is based here in WA, and somewhere in their head office are designers who are obviously campers themselves. They've nailed the lightweight camping equipment brief. Now I'm going to show you a few of my favourite products today, and prepare to be amazed. You'll never believe it, but inside this 2.8 litre pot is a set of mugs and bowls for 2 people. It's all collapsible and is a lifesaver if you're struggling for space. There is even a kettle in the range. It's light, and look, packs flat. How many times have you seen people buying the massive disposable water carrying containers or the large rigid refillables? One's bad for the environment and the other one is an absolute space eater. Behold the Water Cell X, a reusable, stackable, water carrying genius. They are tough and stackable and completely packable when empty, and when you're out somewhere a tad more remote, they double as a shower. How cool is that? And finally, at the end of the day, when you're all adventured out, it's time for a good night's sleep. And you shouldn't have to compromise on comfort just because we're camping. Enter the Comfort Deluxe. It comes in multiple sizes, including a double. Great if you want a bit of extra space to spread out. The design brief for this one was something that at the end of the day folds down small, but provides the same comfort as your bed at home. People have been heard to say the Comfort Deluxe is even more comfortable than their mattress at home. And do you know what? I tend to agree. Now, I'd love to stay here and show you guys some more lightweight camping gear, but I'm feeling so toasty and comfortable right now, I think I'll save them for next time. So it's sweet dreams from me.
Basic first aid should be on top of the list for anyone wanting to call themselves ready for adventure. Now, in the real world, it can take hours to get up to date on your first aid. Today, we're going to highlight the 4 most important things that you need to know before you hit the road. We've enlisted mad camper and first aid trainer Nick to help us out.
So remember, Danny, this is a quick and dirty version of a first aid course, and we're just going to cover off a few of the major issues that you can expect to encounter when you're travelling out remotely, and hopefully give you some tips to deal with them. So the trick when you're out remotely is to try and keep it simple. Everything you really need's up here, and knowing how to use your kit's quite important.
I can imagine. So where do we start?
So first up, we'll deal with snake bites. Snakes can be a big hazard in the outback, and treating them quickly and effectively is quite important. Make sure you've got your snake bite bandage ready to go. And then you can immobilise your patient, keep them nice and still, put a pressure bandage on over the wound, and then get them off the hospital as quickly as possible. So I'm going to just do a demo on your arm quickly. We want to get a pad over the wound just in case the doctors want to assess what the venom is, so they can test that. And we put a nice pressure dressing straight over the wound, back down to the tips of the fingers, just leaving the fingertips exposed, and then we wrap that all the way to the top of the limb and keep our patient nice and still. Don't let them move around too much. This bandage is pretty effective because it's got these little squares on it that let me know I'm pulling it tight enough as I go.
So how many bandages do you actually need to have in your kit?
So snake bite bandages, I'd have 1 or 2. And then the other bandages, as many as you can fit into the bag that you're carrying. Now that we've dealt with that one, we'll move on to the next one, which is a life-threatening bleed. I'll just get you to unwrap yourself while I demonstrate the use of a tourniquet. So there's a couple of different ways we can do this. I like to keep one of these, which is called a CAT tourniquet. And what that does is that helps us stop the blood flow in the event of us not being able to deal with it with a normal pressure bandage like we just did. These are a really simple piece of gear. Basically, I'll demonstrate on myself. It needs to go above the knee or above the elbow because we've only got a single bone there, and it makes it easier for us to clamp the blood off. And we need to put it as high as possible on that limb as we can. So I pull that on as tight as I can and secure it with the Velcro. I'm going to take that little tag out of the way, and I'll grab what I call the tap handle, and we just continue to turn that and turn that and turn that until the blood stops coming out of wherever it's coming out of that you're trying to stop it. Once it stops bleeding, I can hook that into there, put the tag on so that it doesn't unhook itself, and then I need to remember what time I put it on at because there is a time limit for how long these can be on for. Not so much for us as first aiders, it's important for the hospital to know just how long that limb's been cut off with the tourniquet. So next we're going to deal with a tropical pest this time of year for a lot of people going up to Broome. I'm going to take this off. If you can just grab that vinegar there for me.
All right. Okay.
I'll pop that out of the way. So we're going to deal with how to treat the jellyfish stings from up around Broome and further north. It's important before we touch the jellyfish stings, we must wear some gloves, keep our hands protected from anything that might sting us back. We want to pick the stings, the tentacles off. The tentacles can be up to 6 feet long. So once we've got our gloves on, we can peel off the tentacles. We then grab the vinegar, douse them with vinegar for a good 30 seconds, and then get them off to hospital. And hopefully, if it doesn't happen, you've always got the vinegar for your fish and chips.
Okay, great tip.
No worries. Seem simple?
Sure does.
And that's just it, Danny. Basic first aid skills can save the life of a friend or loved one.
And what about this? Where do I get one of these from?
So this one from the St John shop out at Belmont, where they've got a range of different sizes and shapes of first aid kits for different jobs. Or you can go to a chemist and put yourself together one like I have.
Okay, all right. So if I wanted to go and get my first aid, where would I go?
So you can go to places like Surf Life Saving WA, Royal Life Saving, or St John Ambulance themselves do a good first aid course as well.
Okay, so with this one here, I get to keep it, right?
Or not today.
Oh.
Every week on Ready for Adventure, I'll be sharing my tips, and this week's tip is make sure that your trailer is in good working order, that your winch is working, and make sure that you attach that shackle to your boat. Whether you've got a small or a large boat, that's really important, because if the winch gives way, your boat falls off onto the jetty. And if you are considering buying a boat, make sure that you know what you're going to use it for, whether it's fishing, cruising, or maybe using it for water sports. Narrow it down. Work out what your budget is and make sure that you go to a reputable dealer here in Western Australia.
I love getting out on the water whenever I can. And here in WA, we're lucky to have some of the best waterways in the country. From skiing on the Swan River to snorkeling, scuba diving and fishing out on the ocean, it's pretty hard to beat. Today, I'm heading out to Coburn Sound. It's an easily accessible place to wet a line and catch a pink snapper, squid, herring, or just simply take your new boat out for a cruise. Now here's a question for you. What sort of boat do police and sea rescue use? When you think about the conditions that they're operating in, they need something safe, reliable, and fast. First thing you'll notice, the hull. While powered catamarans have been around since the 70s, they've never looked or handled like this. It's WA company Leisure Cat that's fine-tuned the design and features. Now, an international success story, the awards and accolades for Leisure Cat just keep coming as they collaborate with buyers around the globe. And those buyers come from all walks of life. Yes, they're the preferred boat for marine operators and law enforcement, but just as many Leisure Cats are sold to everyday people like you and I. In fact, we bought a Leisure Cat 7 years ago because our family loves getting out on the water, and it's been a great investment. The in-hull engine design means far better water displacement, which in short means we all stay dry even in heavy swell, and so do the engines. The full-length wave breaker lifts the typical catamaran cushioning effect. Put simply, it's a much smoother ride, less jarring and thumping. It's more efficient than a mono-hull vessel. There's a 4-year structural warranty on the hull and deck, and the bonus for us here in WA is the ongoing customer service, which you only get from a homegrown company. If you're after something really unique, with Leisure Cat, you can be part of the build from the very start to the finish of the boat, which is exactly what we did. So if you're after something safe and reliable with a whole heap of deck space, go check out a Leisure Cat.
Our friends at Westcorp Capital are bringing you tips every week for buying your next boat. This week's tip is, you don't have to be asset-backed or own a house to buy, finance and enjoy a boat with your family and friends. If you can afford it, go buy it, finance it and enjoy it. Use Westcorp Capital for your boat finance and we will pay your first year BIA WA membership for you.
Getting out onto the water is something that many West Aussies love, and the Department of Transport and the Bureau of Meteorology want to make sure that we can do it safely. Always check the weather, particularly the tides. High tides can increase the dangers of coastal activities such as boating and rock fishing. Water is covering rocks and hazards that are usually visible. Lower tides may increase the wave height, breaking over offshore reefs and sandbars. And skippers need to be cautious when they're fishing or pulling cray pots or anchoring close to a reef, that there is going to be changing tidal conditions. Some places have larger tidal ranges than others. If you start here in Perth, we only have a pretty small tidal range. It increases as we head up our West Australian coastline all the way to Broome. And if you go even further, up to King George Sound, we have one of the biggest tidal ranges in the world. It's 12 metres. Steeper waves and increased breaking waves occur on an outgoing tide, so it's best to return to avoid these conditions. To avoid being swamped or to run aground on a reef, it's always important to know the tides in your local boating area. Just remember, you're the skipper, you're responsible.
So I've seen some innovations during this TV show, some really cool techie, gadgety things that have been adventure game changers. Take, for example, what I'm sitting on right here. What's not in this is any ice. What is in it is some really cold solos, you can have beer if you like, and some ice creams for the kids. This thing is Adventure Unplugged. For years, the bane of any camper or angler has been keeping your provisions for your adventure cold. Eskies are portable, but the cool only lasts as long as the ice. And portable fridge freezers, while a better option for longer trips, needed to be run off your car or a generator. So you flip the generator off at night, shut the lid, hope the insulation does the job right. Not with this bit of kit. It's the myCoolman Power Pack. Watch this. Ta-da. Seamlessly attaches to the side of the fridge. This is lightweight, portable power in a sleek body. So the battery itself is lithium, easy to see how much power it's got. Only weighs 1.65 kilos, takes 5 to 6 hours to fully charge, and you can easily monitor how much charge is left. And when I go away for the weekend, charge a few of these up and you are set to go. When you put it in the car, just unplug the battery and plug it into the car. First up, the handles. They're flush, not going to take up any room when you push them in or out of the car. There's one of the meanest seals you ever see on a fridge, which improves its performance. Inside, the baskets are flexible. See this? And good thing is you can turn off the zones when you're not using them, saving power. So when those ice creams are gone, turn it off, you're all good. This control pad is angled for easy use, and if I want to check on the fridge, this really is a smart fridge. There's an app control, and there's a 12-volt power socket at each end. And if you have your fridge on slides, whether that's in your vehicle or trailer, it's not going to damage the cord, which is great news. Speaking of cords, new Anderson-style cord accessories has just been designed for myCoolman. And it's all about the simple things in life. There's bottle openers, both sides, you never have to move far. The battery is going to last 8 hours. You got two, that's 16 hours. Hopefully the fishing's all done by then because those ice creams are not going to last that long. Could be on here. No, that's seaweed.
Loading up the lifestyle truck with a few toys today. It's not far for adventure. I've pointed us south and we're heading towards Rockingham, the metro area's only north-facing beach. Well, we made short work of that trip. Before you know it, you're making your way along the freshly minted Rockingham foreshore. $16 million has been invested here over the last few years, and the local council have done an outstanding job, with a new boardwalk linking the shops and the beach. But I'm heading a little bit further around to launch the jet ski. There's a number of gorgeous jetties along the foreshore to take a stroll or even have a fish. And if you're a scuba diver like myself, there's some awesome diving, like the Rockingham Dive Trail. And on a day like today, the visibility would be great. And you can get there just walking straight from the shore. But today, I'm not here to scuba dive. Let's get this baby in the water. Launching your watercraft is pretty simple at one of the boat ramps along the foreshore. I thought we'd set off from the Esplanade boat ramp and then take you around the corner to Point Perrin and a little bit of Penguin Island. The island's only 800 metres from shore in some places, and it's home to a colony of very cute fairy penguins. It's free to visit, and you can also take the ferry there. But I didn't bring my lifestyle truck and jet ski to take the ferry. Rockingham really is an aquatic playground. Dolphins, penguins, you name it, and it's not a huge trek to get here. If you're not a water person, there's still plenty to do. This is Point Perrin from the land. Bring your walking shoes and explore. Sometimes you find the most unexpected treasures. This is an old battery from World War II, and the views from up here are spectacular. And it's not bad from here either. This lookout is just a short stroll from the car park. It's so nice just to stand here and take in the view. The ocean's so nice today, I should have put the paddleboard on the Jeep. Oh well, I'll save that for my next adventure.
How would you like to be the envy of your mates by owning your very own myCoolman 30-litre fridge with battery and cover valued at $1,613? It's the perfect piece of kit for your next adventure. To win, all you need to do is get the code word from today's show and enter it via our website. Good luck. That's all we have time for this week. If you want to know any of the info about any of the stories you have seen, visit our website or drop us a line on Facebook or Instagram. Don't forget to keep an eye out for the next issue of the Ready for Adventure magazine. Tune in and join us next week for more Ready for Adventure.